new.
What up, MVPs? Thanks for tuning into another episode from Faulty Logics. This is the Raptors Den. Today we have a special guest with us, a good friend, Aaron. If you watch any of our other Faulty Logics content, he was on one of our episodes before. We talked about mental health awareness. But as usual, you have myself, Dan, and token black guy, Peter Danso.
What's up, guys?
Should I say your last name? I should edit that out.
Doesn't matter. It's all good.
All right.
They'll find you on Facebook.
What do we have on the plate today?
So yeah, guys, we have a good agenda here today. We're going to be talking about Raptors' first matchup, who they're going to be running into playoffs, who we would prefer them playing against, and whatnot. We have a couple newcomers to teams. Brandon Jennings to the Bucks. He had his debut the other day, as well as a player that's playing out of control for the Los Angeles Lakers, Julius Randle, and his little beef that he had with teammate Isaiah Thomas. We also have some NBA analysts giving love and hate to the Raptors if we're legitimate in the playoffs or not, especially Paul Pierce and others amongst them. We also have some very old player drama news that's basketball related that we would like to get into a little bit here as well. We'll touch on it very briefly in Blake Griffin as well as Tristan Thompson and their extramarital affairs outside of the basketball and everything of that nature. Of course, I know Dan wants to talk about this giveaway that we've been doing ongoing for the last couple months here. We're so close, guys. Let's get those numbers to actually put it over the top.
Yeah, so just before we get into the meat and potatoes of the podcast, just keep in mind that we're doing a giveaway. When we get to 100 subscribers, we're going to pick somebody from the comments sections of any Raptors Den episodes. Make sure your profile or your YouTube account is set to public so we can tell you're subscribed. Again, leave a comment, and when we hit 100 subscribers, we're gonna pick 2 winners to earn to potentially win a $15 Google Play gift card.
Come on, guys, we're so close. A couple more subscriptions, and we'll get there for sure. So actually, let's get into the actual podcast here today. Get some good basketball conversations going. So the first topic on the agenda here today is the Raptors' potential first-round playoff adversaries and opponents. As of right now, currently sitting in 8th place, it is the Miami Heat. So if playoffs started here today, it looked like we would have another barn burner matchup against the Heat. So let's toss it to our guest host here, Aaron, seeing how you feel about if we were going to play the Heat, and if not, who would you rather the Raptors run into for the first-round playoffs?
I think I started off. I want to see the Bucks in the playoffs.
Seriously?
I want to see the Bucks.
Even after what they did to us last year. 7 games, and that was not an easy series.
So here's the thing about the Raptors. We're going to 7 games with every team. It does not matter who we face. Pacers went 7 games the year before.
Well,
Bucks
that's with Paul George. This is a
to...
totally different team.
I still feel like we're going to get to 7 games. We're the Raptors. It's our thing. Lose game 1, win game 7.
Hey, that is pretty much what happened for the last couple of years.
As long as you don't get bumped out the second round, right?
Yeah. How about you, Dan?
I like the Miami Heat matchup. Obviously, the games that we had earlier in the season, there's a lot of tension and stuff. I like to see that kind of like playoff atmosphere or that physicality. So I think it would be super fun series to watch. At the same time, maybe even the 76ers. I think that would be an interesting thing to. The thing is, the 76ers, you don't really have a real rival for them. So it doesn't matter who they play.
And don't forget, we were coming out of the mouth of the biggest 76ers fan on this podcast, Dan. So, of course, you would like to see those two guys go off.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't want to see them in the first round. Like, we don't get bumped out. But if anybody's going to bump out, I think the 76ers should get bumped out first round.
That's fair. No, both good points there from both guys there. My personal opinion, I think I would definitely like to see the Heat first round over the Bucks or the 76ers. Purely with those two teams, they both have length, like defensive length, and Ben Simmons and Giannis Antetokounmpo, both respectively for those two teams, where it just looks like the one Achilles heel for the Raptors is defensive length. If the other team has length on our defenders, DeMar DeRozan usually gets stopped. Kyle Lowry never gets a good shot in the paint. Our big men can't really get up and down the court with athletic, lanky big men that are going against them, like Henson for the Bucks. He's had a game against us every single time they played. In all honesty, the Heat don't have as much length as the other two teams. Out of the bottom 4 teams, which ones? The Heat, Bucks, 76ers, and Pacers. the two best teams to match up against the Raptors would be the Pacers or the Heat, in my opinion. So I think, honestly, if we face anyone other than those two teams, like Aaron said, we're probably going to 7 against whoever we play against. But going against the Bucks or the 76ers, that 7th game is going to be sketchy to watch.
But what I have to say is that Miami Heat, they are a grittier team.
Yes.
And that's what I don't like about the matchup. They are a grittier team. At least with the Bucks, we have the advantage down low. We have JV until they turn to small ball.
Which is what they got. But they have Greg Monroe, though, coming off the bench, who's a relatively new.
That was last season. He's with the Celtics now.
Oh, yeah, he did go at the trade deadline.
Right?
The last free agency.
And at the end of the day, you really think about it, all they have is Giannis, and he can't shoot threes.
Well, they just added...
He can't shoot outside the paint.
They added Eric Bledsoe at the trade deadline, and they added...
Brandon Jennings,
who just almost had a triple-double.
I have a comment about the Brandon Jennings.
Well, Brandon Jennings is coming up in the next topic here. That's for sure. But like you were saying, though, they don't really have too much shooting around, especially because Giannis can't shoot outside the paint. Like, if anyone's watched this game, he doesn't shoot outside the paint. But it's the driving kick. They have tons of shooters around them.
Middleton.
So, Dellavedova. They have people around them that have been deep in the playoffs. Well, not really deep in the playoffs, but have had playoff experience and can make the big shots at the end of the game.
What I'll say is the Raptors, we're not the best three-point shooting team.
No, not by any means.
We have the volume, but we don't have the good percentages.
Fair.
Milwaukee, I feel like they're closer to us with three-point shooting. Yes, they have players that can hit the three, but they're not known as snipers. Bledsoe, not known as a sniper. He can hit a three, but you don't want him taking a bunch of threes.
It's true.
Same with
Matthew?
You know?
Matthew Dellavedova.
Matthew Dellavedova. I
Deli.
still can't do it. Deli.
Deli. But
You get him moving, he's not hitting a three,
that's fair.
right? He has
He has an
be
ugly shot, too.
standstill.
Or at least
does
a
have an ugly
weird-looking shot.
And Giannis,
Can't shoot
you're
outside
gonna
the
have to
paint.
rely on his driving game, but you know he's not shooting the ball, so you can play up on him. So you're not gonna be really scared with the catch and shoot or the drive. You
Or the
know
drive,
he's
or
not
the
going to be
pull-ups.
kicking it out as much.
Yeah, you give
The
him his
only
room.
the only person you really have to worry about, in my opinion, is Middleton, but he's gonna have his hands full with DeRozan. And let me tell you, every game, DeRozan stuns him.
It's true.
DeRozan stuns
How
Middleton.
about Malcolm Brogdon? He torched us last playoffs. Like, if we lost that series, it was going to be because of Malcolm. Yes, Giannis there as well, but the X factor was Malcolm and his length. Yet again, another lengthy guard who we just don't have anyone to guard. Granted, we have DeLon Wright who can match up with him nicer than Kyle
Kyle
Lowry did, but yeah, we're still short on that aspect. If Malcolm comes back and plays at the level he was playing at last year, that's just another X factor for them.
I feel like if we change our defensive schemes this year, Brogdon won't be as much of a factor. Because if you watch Lowry in the playoffs, one of the things that's very frustrating is that he really overhelps and plays up on people.
Yeah.
He gambles too much. He doesn't play smart defense. He goes for that home run play. If he just chills out for like a second, Brogdon, you get in his face. He's not really driving on you.
Well, he can.
He can, but that's not his game. He's more of a
facilitator.
Like he's like that cog in the offense where you could swing the ball to and trust to not make a bad decision and take the shot if need be.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I think another thing with the Bucks, though, I know we're really hammering on the Bucks. Without the leadership of Jason Kidd, they still have an interim coach. Going into playoffs when you have to shorten your bench, and coaching is a hell of a lot harder in the playoffs because it's all about matchups. Can this new interim coach find the right pieces at the right time to make them effective in the playoffs? I don't think so. Granted, he has been doing a hell of a job since Jason Kidd has left. Like, the Bucks have been doing better than what they were starting at. But it's still an unknown.
I still think the 76ers are like still a good matchup as well too, because we're looking at a team that hasn't seen the playoffs in a lot of years.
I was gonna say, yeah, 10
So
years.
their young experience, the way they've been playing has been very messy, sloppy. I think they lead the league in turnovers, and with the Raptors that play extremely fast pace of basketball right now, very free flowing basketball rather than isolations, they can capitalize on something like that.
That's true.
The big thing that they have to deal with is just Joel Embiid, realistically.
Yep.
But I think JV has played good games against the 76ers as well.
And we do have the benefit of putting a couple guys on. We can shift off Ibaka into him a couple minutes of a game. JV can take the brunt of most of the work down there as well. Yeah, the 76ers are good. It's nice to think that the Raptors are so much deeper than every other team that they would ever face in the playoffs because our bench is unbelievable. But going into playoffs, when you cut down the people that you use, that potentially might hurt us because we are so dependent on our bench playing solid 15 minutes a game. Without that ability, I think we might fall off. So with the 76ers being that fast-paced turnovers, our guys are going to get tired, do we have the legs to actually gun them the whole game?
Well, to add to that, though, the fact that our bench is playing so much right now, that means our starters are getting a lot of rest.
That's true. I don't think Kyle and DeMar haven't played more than 40 minutes a game in the last month and a half, I've heard. So
I just want to say one thing. In Fred Van Fleet, we trust. He's going to take us to the promised land.
Steady Freddy.
He's going to get Finals MVP.
okay, whoa there. If you're starting to call out stuff like that, I don't know.
You
I
heard
don't
it
know
here
if-
first.
if the
Faulty
next
Logic's
invitation-
podcast.
The next invitation might have to be revoked there.
Simply
No,
based on his haircut. He has one of the best haircuts in the NBA. You see that fade?
I gotta love. I love Steady Freddy. He's been doing work for us the whole year. It's just a shame that this is a contract year and he's going to get paid by somebody and he's probably going to leave us, which is going to hurt. But hoping the best for Fred VanVleet there as well. Hopefully he can give us a home team discount on the contract year. But then again, let's not start thinking about next year. Let's finish this year. We're first in the East. Let's make it worth something. Right? But moving on to the hot topic here in the room. I know this is the big elephant in the room. I know that Aaron and Danny have some good points that they want to bring out about this next topic. Brandon Jennings and his comeback to the NBA. He had his debut the other day with the Milwaukee Bucks. Of course, I unfortunately missed that game. I did not even know he plays for the Bucks since he's come back and announced that 10-day contract. But Aaron, I know that you had something that you want to bring out about Brandon Jennings. So let you take the floor.
I don't like it. Because here's the thing. Here's what I don't like about it. So you have the guard rotation of Bledsoe, Brogdon, and Delhi,
Jennings and Delhi.
right? Those are the point guards.
Yeah.
Eric Bledsoe's an off guard though. You can't call him
He's
a
still
point
he's
guard.
still the starting point guard.
He's a combo guard.
He's your combo.
We'll,
guard.
we'll call him a combo
He's a
guard.
Devin Booker.
I don't like how they could just let Brandon Jennings come in here on a 10-day contract and just kind of take the reins like that.
Why not?
If you are on the team all season, you be getting these minutes. And all of a sudden, you get an ex-NBA player on a 10-day coming in, taking your minutes, and just taking the reins, having the green light like that. How would you feel about that?
I think it's the situation though, because if a guy's hot, you're gonna ride the hot guy. So if he comes out and he shoots well, and you're gonna keep him in, and like it just so happens he put up a near triple double that night. But I don't think he's gonna take away minutes from guys like Eric Bledsoe and Chris Middleton. I think they're still gonna have Brandon Jennings come off the bench.
Of course.
And him coming off the bench is crazy. Like there's not a lot of second unit players are going to be able to guard Brandon Jennings, in my opinion. He might struggle a little bit about starters, but he'll kill bench players.
And he struggles on defense. He is a defensive liability. But don't get it twisted. All these guys that he's stealing minutes from are NBA professional players who know what they signed up for. You're not producing. We will find someone that is. Yes, I understand if I'm Chris Middleton, Dellavedova, I've been with this team for the last 60 games of the season. Now this guy that's coming from China or wherever the heck Brandon Jennings came from, I don't even know what league he was playing in, coming for a 10-day and he's taking my minutes, that just means you have to ball out of control. Like, you have to ball better. If someone's going to come and steal your minutes, you have to fight for that and show the coach why this guy shouldn't come and take your minutes.
I'm sure Delhi's okay with his minutes being taken away. Like Kyrie took his minutes away.
That's the next thing. Like,
See, that's the thing. If Kyrie comes in, I'll be like, okay, you know what? I kind of understand. At the end of the day, these are NBA players. They are prideful. They were always the best growing up.
yeah.
So to have someone come in and seemingly not necessarily earn the minutes, he just comes on in there.
but we
But
didn't,
you know the
that
guy
could
can
be a
play.
thing.
It's just a focus thing. He had to get
If
refocused.
if he could really play, then why was he just in the league now? on
It's
a
a
10-day?
reality check because he got satisfied with the NBA lifestyle, lost his passion to play,
yeah, and he
and
just got
he
complacent.
just fell off.
He got complacent. I wouldn't even say it was a reality check. It was something outside the court. So it wasn't just his play that got him kicked out of the league. It was something behind the scenes. It had to be attitude. Like, if you ever had on a basketball team before, there's always the aspect of coachability. If you can't take criticism and you can't show steps of improving yourself, I'm not going to have you on my team. So it's more or less, okay, so I understand that you're a good player, Brandon Jennings, but if I tell you to pick and roll and go to the left and you just don't understand, why am I going to keep hitting my head against the wall if you're not going to learn? Go to somewhere, figure out what we are looking for you to do, come back and see what you can do at that time.
And let's not forget, like his rookie year, he had like 3 50-point games or something like that.
Brandon Jennings is a scorer.
That is something that could get to your head as a rookie, and you're gonna think you're a tough shit. Like
Yep.
Donovan Mitchell, kind of a similar situation where he's a rookie and they pretty much gave him the offensive reins, but you can tell from the way that Donovan Mitchell is, he's a super humble guy. Like I don't think he's gonna let it get to his head.
Next thing.
You know what? I'm here for the hot takes, and you're gonna hear it first. First one, Steady Freddy's winning the Finals MVP.
Okay, so we're writing
Second
that
one,
down.
Write that down. Second hot take, Brandon Jennings emerges as a locker room cancer. The Bucks implode, and then we face the Heat in the first round.
Not gonna lie, that's not that big of a hot take. That is very possible. Like, Brandon Jennings has been a cancer in some locker rooms. I don't know what happened in the situation in the Pistons when he was there briefly. He got bounced out of there real quick.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Well,
wouldn't surprise
he
me.
also got injured. So
That
when
as
you
well.
come back, and if you look at him as a player, he's not the most athletic.
No.
He's not
Undersized.
he's undersized. So when you come back from injury, it takes a while to
Get your feet.
get your feet under you.
Missed
So if you
opportunity
don't-
for the Cavs.
So if you don't,
Hey,
if you don't have the one thing you offer, scoring,
Yeah.
and that quick first step, then you have nothing. Kind of like the IT right now. Why you got traded from the Cavs?
Actually,
Speaking of
funny enough that you brought IT up there. That's a good segue right there for us. So let's jump into the Lake Show. We can talk a little bit about the Los Angeles Lakers, how they, in all intents and purposes, have turned it up in as of late. The last couple of weeks, they've been getting big W's against the Cavaliers. They got a big W against I'm pretty sure Boston. They went hard against Boston as well.
They beat
Aaron.
Denver.
They beat Denver as
too.
well.
Talk
was a good
about
team.
Lonzo recently.
So I know Aaron is a resident Lonzo Ball fanatic.
He's a big
So
baller.
let's talk about the big baller brand, Lakers, Julius Randle's upcoming, Isaiah Thomas's beef with Randle, and the Cavaliers. Let's just dive into the Lakers show.
First of all, if you don't like Lonzo, you ain't a big baller. You ain't a big baller. Simple as that. All right. I just want to talk about the Lakers win against the Cavs specifically. Isaiah Thomas is probably like, you know,
Gotcha.
take that, LeBron. LeBron's like, first of all, I'm still going to the playoffs.
Yeah, and
You're
where are the
not.
Lakers going to be?
First of all, you signed for the minimum next year. You ain't getting that max.
Kuzma was saying that every time he scored, he would like start chirping the Cleveland bench, and it's like, what up?
For Isaiah Thomas's defense, if I got exiled from a team like that, I would have the biggest chip on my shoulder.
Yeah.
Super salty.
Hell yeah.
Every basket is the NBA game-winning shot, but at the buzzer. I don't give a crap if it's a layup or a foul shot. I'll be looking at the bench and giving him a wink every 2 points I get.
But did you guys watch Isaiah and the Cavs? How bad he
garbage.
was.
He was hurt. He was, from my take from Isaiah Thomas's stint in the Cavs, he was hurt. He got rushed back, and then he got shoved into a situation that he didn't create himself. So, of course, when you get put somewhere that you don't want to be, you're uncomfortable. And then the way to get comfortable get your comfort level up is by repetition, practice. He didn't get that luxury. He missed all of preseason. He missed half of the season.
Cleveland doesn't practice.
They don't practice anyways. And even if they were, it's not going hard at practice. So when you got put into the situation, one, the Cavaliers were struggling. Two, the Cavaliers were old. And three, the expectations still were sky high. So it's like, okay, the first minute of your game, you're supposed to get 25 points a game. We want the Isaiah Thomas of the old Boston Celtics, where it's not the same situation. So I think it's just unfortunate situation for Isaiah Thomas in the Cavaliers stint.
That's true. He came into a team that had the championship expectations, and he was just trying to get healthy.
Yeah,
but the thing is, like, you could try to get healthy, you could do your thing, but you got to have a good attitude about it.
Yeah.
The way he came out of Kevin Love, he tried to take control of the locker room, and it's like, you know what, man, you shooting 25% from three. You're like 5'5". You my height. You need to take a step back before you start pointing fingers.
It's true. Isaiah Thomas came into the Cavaliers situation thinking he was still the man of the team like he was in Boston. So he came in a little hot, but I don't know. That's what you get what you pay for.
I think even in the same situation right now in the Lakers, like Kuzma says, like, yeah, Isaiah Thomas is yelling at me all the time. Like, every minute of the game, he's yelling at us. But I think that's just the type of player he is. He's kind of like Lowry with that pitbull attitude. I think it's the small man syndrome we talk about.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just the way he is. But if you're not the man on the team, if you're not the best player on the team, you can't be like that.
It is simple. Know your lane. Like,
would you say that? And right now, him being on the Lakers, is he the best player on the team?
Best player, overall player? No, I don't think he's the best player. Best scorer, hands down. Brandon Ingram could surpass him in a couple more years of experience because Brandon Ingram's game is all around unbelievable. If he can just find himself, he could be lethal. But
yeah, he did a good job with developing. His first year, he didn't look too good. He had it a lot.
Yeah.
But I just have one hot take on Isaiah Thomas. In the 30 for 30 about his time in Cleveland, we're going to find out he, just like Kevin Durant, he had Twitter burner accounts to comment, yeah, the Cavs are stupid for trading IT. There you go. There's another account. Yeah, I agree. IT on the Cavs forever. They gonna regret trading him.
And hey, honestly, I think they're not regretting it. Don't get me wrong. They're still going to go, like you said, to the playoffs. But no, that's true. I can see Isaiah Thomas getting those burner accounts going.
Really? You think he's that petty? That's hilarious.
You don't? Come on. He was the first one to call out his AAU teammate for taking the time off.
Yeah,
of that.
but like he called
petty.
him out like in front of his face. You know,
That's fair.
He's
In
not
front of
doing
the
it behind
team.
the back. Like you don't see Kevin Durant go out and like say that shit to Russell Westbrook while he's playing OKC, right? Just kind of like
but there's
snuck
also
out.
there's also a time and place and a way to convey your message. If you point fingers in front of everyone, then get your buddy Jay Crowder to back you up. Jay Crowder's scary. I'm sorry. If he came up to me like, "What's up?" Here, just take my shit.
Here's my wallet.
What else you want? Want to come to my house? Like, I'll give you my TV too. Like, Jay Crowder is scary. Like, I don't like that.
It's more or less the Isaiah Thomas came in too hot, pointing fingers in a situation that he knew very little about. Like, I don't know. He came in thinking he was still the best, thinking that this team was the best, where expectations were too high and they couldn't sustain it.
Well, can you blame him? In Boston, averaging almost 30 points a game, face of the franchise, and he was treated like a god in Boston. Yeah. They chanted his name. They big up to him all the time. And I was like someone who was like, how tall is he actually?
5'8".
5'8".
I think that's an NBA listing 5'8". He's probably
with
more like
shoes, 5'8" with shoes. He comes in out, like getting MVP chance.
Thinking he smelled himself. That's fine. That's understandable.
Yeah.
What about him playing alongside Lonzo Ball though? Like Lonzo's hitting threes recently.
Because he's a big baller.
What surprised me is Isaiah Thomas is looking to move the ball a lot more than he was in the last two teams.
Sure.
It looks like he has more trust in this crop of guys than he did even in Boston. And Boston went deep in the playoffs. So it's like,
I don't know
weird.
if it's about trust. I think is Boston
Necessity?
traded me. Cleveland traded me. Maybe I should actually pass the ball this time if I want to stay on the team.
And we also keep in mind that like he was a big fan of Kobe growing up.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
being in the Lakers.
He's from California.
He's from LA. Is he
Washington
from
State.
Washington?
Yeah, he's from Washington State. Just
Okay.
got that now.
So either way, like being on the Lakers or being a part of the Lakers organization, being on his contract year,
That's
he's
what it is.
gonna want to kind of secure that spot. Like you knew that going to Cleveland. I think I mentioned it before too. Like even though he was coming to Cleveland and he's been put in a championship situation, he was not a fan of LeBron James.
No.
He chirped him even before he was a pro basketball player, and I don't know. He just kind of had to adjust to it because he didn't have a choice at that time.
I feel like Isaiah Thomas probably couldn't deal with what Kyrie dealt with. You know, being LeBron's teammate,
You're in the
you're
shadow.
automatically seen as the 1B.
Mhm.
LeBron is going to be the
It's his
dad.
team.
It's going to be the dad. He's going to be the number one. And just being a young guard, the narrative's always going to be LeBron took you under his wing. So I bet Isaiah, he already has the biggest chip on his shoulder.
Yep.
So he's going to be upset that, again, LeBron gets all the credit. Doesn't matter what Isaiah's doing. It's LeBron. It's LeBron. As someone who has
Fair.
as prideful as Isaiah, I know you need a confidence to
Yo.
be a 5-5 in the league.
But he's got to stay in his lane, man.
He does have to stay in his lane. And going back to the point where he's passing the ball a lot more, I think you hit it right on the head there, Dan. It is a contract year. He knows he's been passed by two teams and two well-respected teams in the organization. Knowing it's a contract year, if he doesn't change, obviously something, he's going to go to one of those bottom feeder teams. Yes, he's going to get paid out, but why do you want to go back to the Kings? He left the Kings
So
to
we'll
the
see him
Boston.
on Dallas.
Like, yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like, yes, money's everything. I don't care if someone's going to pay me $50 million a season. If we get 3 wins a year, what the hell's the point? Like, I'm sorry, I want to win and I want to get paid. So try and get the best of both worlds.
If he goes to Dallas, starting a little man's club, him, JJ Barea, and Dennis Smith Jr. They'll
Yogi
get
Ferrero.
together. Yogi.
Yo, it's
They're just all going to go to Six Flags and be like,
small
hey,
man syndrome.
what do you mean we can't ride this roller coaster? What do you mean?
Do the little rascals thing, put two guys on top of each other's shoulders to try and sneak in.
Then they just go with Dirk. He's like their dad.
Dirk's retiring this year. First of all, I don't see him playing another year. This guy looks like he's in pain every time he takes off his jumpsuit.
That's just Dirk.
He wants to play. He wants to play.
He does. That's just Dirk, though. If you watch young Dirk, even his fadeaway jumpers would look like it pained him.
I honestly, like, it's not just his jumpers; it's just his movement all together. And I think the only reason why he's getting minutes right now is because they're
last.
tanking.
I was going to say they're
tanking.
last in the
Like-
league.
Like they're playing Dwight Powell. Who the as
Okay,
much
well,
of a Canadian
I was
as he
gonna
is,
say
like,
Canadian
who
boy.
gives a shit about Dwight Powell?
Canadian, boy. I hope
He's
he
been
does
in the
well.
league for how many years, and like nobody
Five?
knows him.
4 or 5? Yeah, that's
Like-
true. Yeah, Dwight Powell's not that nice. No one's really nice on the Mavericks, though.
He's not gonna replace Dirk.
No one's going to replace Dirk, though.
I think Dirk is just playing right now, like I said, just because they're tanking, and might as well let him pad some stats for his
Hall of Fame career. He's going in the
Exactly.
Hall of Fame. It's a done deal. He's
sure.
an MVP, Finals MVP. He's
For
a
sure.
championship. Yeah, he's going to the NBA in the Hall of Fame. But going back to the Lake Show, we really didn't talk about the Isaiah Thomas Julius Randle beef, and we actually haven't really talked about Randle and his outstanding play since the All-Star break. I think he's in third in all the major categories in points, rebounds, assists. Since the All-Star break, only behind LeBron James and Westbrook, I do believe. One, I don't know if you guys have seen the video with him and Isaiah Thomas getting into it in the bench, and it looked like it was throughout the whole game, not just like one instant.
Yeah.
One instant. What do you think they were arguing about there?
I think it's the same thing that Kyle Kuzma says. Like, IT's just always in people's faces, just yelling, and that's just the type of guy he is, right? But I think Julius Randle's not the type of guy to kind of take
Back
it
down?
Yeah, he's a big guy. You don't want to mess with Julius Randle.
I actually saw a little bit of the game. It looked like Julius Randle, he wasn't playing the best defense.
Sure.
And let me tell you something. If I'm Isaiah Thomas, I'm going to look back at Julius Randle like, hey, you know I can't guard nobody up in this.
I need your help.
You know this start. You know their point guard getting past me. You gotta be behind me.
But
You
speaking
gotta
about,
be behind me.
speaking about Julius Randle and his defense, oddly enough, I want to hear what you guys take about this. I heard a soundbite that Luke Walton was calling Julius Randle the best one-on-one defender in the league as of right now. He is shortlisted to be Defensive Player of the Year. Takes on that. I know, Aaron, you like the hot takes. What's your hot take about Julius Randle, Defensive Player of the Year, best one-on-one defender in the game today?
I think shout out Luke Walton for instilling confidence in his players. You know what I'm saying? That's what I say. That's what I say. If I'm playing, like I just play pickup basketball at LA Fitness. If sometimes I pick up randoms. I don't know who they are, but I could tell. Oh, they're not too good. You know what? I still try to instill confidence in them. I'm like, go shoot that boy. Shoot that.
I understand.
Nice block, nice board, nice just not dribbling off your leg. You know what I'm saying?
There is time to instill confidence if it is warrant confidence. You can't
come out of nowhere.
You can't go to a guy that is 5 foot even, like 5 feet, and say you can do a between the legs dunk. I know you can. That is stupid. Like that's not possible. Like
see, but the thing is when you're at the highest level of basketball, you get there for a reason because you have that confidence where you can step up to anyone. The only person that doesn't have that confidence is Robert Covington. You see him fuck up layups with LeBron behind him.
Oh my
He literally
God,
the only
man.
person who would go up
start
against
on
an
this
NBA
guy.
player and be like, you know what, maybe he's better than me.
so. Just a FYI, if Robert Covington, if you're listening to this podcast somehow, we do apologize, but you just got called out.
Hot
Dude.
take
Yeah.
take about.
This is on my fantasy team, man. I feel it.
And a 76er fan. So
I got a hot take about Robert Covington.
Okay.
He also has burner accounts. Where he defends himself on that one highlight of where he just botched the layup because LeBron was behind him saying, oh, his hand looks slippery. His hand looks, you could tell the moisture in the air.
okay, but
The moisture in the air made the precipitation. Water came down. Some sweat got in his eye. I think he chipped on the shoelace. You know what I'm saying? He ate some popcorn on the timeout. Had some Butterfingers slipped off. It wasn't LeBron. He ain't shook. He ain't shook.
yeah, okay, I'm sorry, Robert Covington. You would be shook. I would be shook if I'm going down the fast break and I see LeBron behind me though. So that's kind of intimidating.
Yeah.
I'm not.
But going
I'm a
back
big
to
baller.
IT and the Randall, I think you were right. It is just about the aggressiveness about IT, just always wanting perfection from his boys, which is kind of weird. Like you were saying, know your lane. You're brand new to this team. Are you in the best position to be barking orders to a guy where you've only been in this system for what? It's been
Few weeks.
maybe a month?
Yeah.
Maybe a month? Can you be calling and making coaching decisions when you've only played with these guys for 30 days? I don't think so. That's a good way to get kicked out.
I'm saying like you could challenge people on your team to get them to be better, but you can't just bark at them on live TV. You can't do stuff like that. And Julius Randle, as you said, he's not going to take that from IT. Julius Randle looked like he wake up mad.
The good thing is that there was a clip later on where they kind of like squashed the beef after as well too.
Yeah, there was
they
that.
shook it
There
up.
was the one that is the saving grace that they did shake hands after. It looks like whatever they were talking about did come into a resolution, which is nice.
Yeah,
Nice to
he
see.
was basically just like, look, at the end of the day, I'm trying to win. That's what it is.
That's what we're looking to do. Make a team better.
Yeah.
Okay, but we beat this dog dead here for us. So let's move on to the real topic. The NBA analysts as a whole, I am grouping them all together here. Yes, there are some bright spots that actually like the Raptors and think we are legit. But it seems like NBA analysts as a whole don't believe in the Raptor hype.
Except Charles Barkley.
Except Chuck and as well as except Kenny the Jet Smith. He believes that we are pretty decent. Maybe not the finals like Chuck says. But he thinks we have a run in us.
And Chauncey.
And Chauncey Billups, former Raptor, liking us as well. But the overall consensus going from like Stephen A. Smith, Paul Pierce, Jalen Rose, the overall consensus is saying the Raptors, we ain't shit.
And yeah, people are still saying it's gonna be either Boston or Cleveland, and that's it. Some people have even included Indiana. It's like what?
Well, Indiana maybe not, but like the Wizards have been balling out of control without John Wall. yes, we have ourselves. The Raptors have been balling out of control as well. But like there are good teams in the East, other than LeBron James, the Cavaliers, and the Celtics.
I think we're number 3 in offensive rating or offensive efficiency or something.
And I think that's league wide. I think we're behind
League-wide.
I was gonna say the Rockets and the Warriors, and then
Exactly.
it's us.
Yeah, only team in the top 5 in each category.
Yeah,
And that's unbelievable.
Paul Pierce's main argument is basically like, look, like they're an NBA season team. They're not a playoff team.
Oh my!
Like every time they come into the playoffs, they get bumped out. They get bumped out by Brooklyn. Paul Pierce. He like
Twice.
talks about himself in third person. Like seriously, like at the same time, like yo, Paul Pierce, you're not in the league anymore.
That's true. But then again, to Paul Pierce's credit, even though I think it's totally stupid that he was saying that, like, I know you don't like the Raptors, you never played for the Raptors, you always had rivalries with the Raptors.
And we're ahead of his team.
Yes. But it's the fact of Paul Pierce has knocked us out for the last, like, 3 years? When he hit that one shot with the Wizards, when
With
he
the
was on them with
Wizards?
the one time. When the big three in Brooklyn with Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and I don't know who else was on that team with them.
Joe Johnson.
Yeah, Joe Johnson. When they bumped us out in the game 7, when Kyle missed that layup in the paint. Granted, Paul Pierce has done it when Messiah infamously said F Brooklyn on that team. Paul Pierce took that personally, and he single-handedly kicked us out of that playoff. So granted, Paul Pierce has a case behind what he was saying because he's seen it firsthand. He has eliminated us twice in the playoffs himself. It's a different team. It's a different league. Paul Pierce, you are retired for a reason. You can't ball anymore. We are new players. I think it's totally unwarranted. It's not something that he has expertise on this season. I think he's just talking out of his ass.
Okay, two things. One,
Petty.
Yeah.
analysts like Paul Pierce and even the TNT crew, they admit they don't watch NBA basketball. There's
As
too
much.
much going on. So they're not going to keep up with the team like we do. So they just go on old narratives. So that's why they have that. And number 2, Paul Pierce gives me anxiety as a Toronto fan. I think all of us right now in unison just need to say fuck Paul Pierce. we just need to let out one good fuck Paul Pierce. All right?
I agree with that.
Ready? Okay, everyone on 3. 1, 2, 3. Fuck Paul Pierce.
Okay, I do actually feel a little bit better. that is true. But then again, saying that, we have to take it with a grain of salt because what happens, God forbid, knock on wood, what happens if we get bounced in 5 games first round? Are we going to be like, Paul Pierce, you were right? Sorry? Nah.
Nah, I'm still tweeting fuck Paul Pierce.
But so there are other people that aren't believing in the hype of the Raptors. I like to buy in. I don't know if I would go as far as Charles Barkley. I know we said this in the last podcast. Finals, NBA Finals is a stretch. I like to think we should be going to the Eastern Conference Finals. That's almost a given, knock on wood, if we play healthy still. I don't know. Paul Pierce is like almost confident that we're going to get bounced in the first round, which is... I don't even know.
What about you, Aaron? Do you think Toronto Raptors can make it to the finals this year?
NBA Finals.
NBA Finals.
I actually think they have a shot. They have, I'd say it's a 70-30. 30% chance we're getting to the finals if we face Cleveland in the conference finals. Reason being, all the other teams, we could beat them in 7 games. Indiana, the Pacers, they're the same team.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Indiana, Bucks, Heat, Washington, we could beat them. 7-game series. That's the thing about the NBA. 7-game series. The better team's always going to win. Now, here's the thing with Cleveland. Their lineup that killed us last year was a Channing Frye lineup. It's the fact that they had that 5 that could shoot the 3. They don't have that same spacing that they had last year. They don't have a 5 that could shoot the 3.
Unless it's going to be Kevin Love.
Unless it's Kevin Love.
Yeah, love that.
But then at the same time, slide LeBron at the 4 and then...
Larry Nance.
But even then,
Nance.
exactly. Now you have Larry Nance. So the matchup with the big man shooting threes isn't necessarily going to be there. And then if you look at their team as a whole, other than Korver and Love, they're not knockdown 3-point shooters.
JR is a knockdown 3-point
He is
shooter.
not on knockdown 3-point shooting anymore. He has not been good this season. He's
Season,
turned it
fair,
up.
fair.
He's turned it up as of late. He's gotten better, but he's still not that person that's going to put fear in my heart.
Don't forget about my man, Jose.
He's not getting any playing time.
He's getting 0 playing time.
He's
But
not
no,
getting any.
But going back to that
He's more
J.R.
likely
Smith,
to play with the Raptors.
I want to go back to that J.R. Smith. Yes, I still call him a knockdown shooter because, okay, granted, he's having a little bit of a struggling season this year. CJ Miles is in somewhat of the same situation. I will still call him a knockdown 3-point shooter. Yes, he hasn't been really shooting well the whole overall season. Like you said with J.R. Smith, as of late, they've been turning it up. I would still be afraid of J.R. Smith and CJ Miles in the playoffs if they get threes. Like, yeah, one season's a different season, but like they
You
are
still got
still
Rodney
shooters.
I feel like you only goes your last game, and J.R. Smith he hasn't been shooting well this season. It's really as simple as that.
But
and
you
even
know,
players like Rodney Hood and everything.
J.R. Smith is the streakiest guy in the NBA. Like when he turns up for a few games in a row, and he's hitting like 5+ threes,
Yeah.
and then he'll disappear for a month.
For like a whole.
So you just gotta hope he turns up at the right time.
But exactly, you gotta hope he turns up at the right time.
Yeah.
As of this season, he hasn't even really put together a good week. Of
I'll
basketball.
agree with you though. I think the Raptors can beat Cleveland.
No, yeah.
Like people are always gonna say, well, you haven't. You also have to take into consideration of playoff LeBron. Like what he's doing right now, he's already almost averaging a triple double. How much more can he turn it on in the playoffs?
I think that's the only way Cleveland gets past us because of playoff LeBron. It's because we literally can't stop LeBron. The only thing we're gonna have to try to do is implement that strategy we did against Houston, where we let Harden get his
And just shut down everybody else.
and
around
shut down
him.
everyone else. Houston had in their last game, I think
40
they had-
points.
No, like James Harden had 40 points, but their team as a whole they only took like 9 threes.
Yeah.
Well,
And they are the top like 3-point shooting team with volume
league.
wise.
Yeah.
Because we know in today's league 3 is better than 2. We shut that down. We let Harden get his. He had 40 points. It was like
I think with that game, with the Rockets game in particular, that was just a struggling game for them as a whole. Like, yes, James Harden got his, but if you look at the whole team as a whole, the first quarter, they only scored 16 points. Doesn't matter how good your defense is, that's the other team helping you, just missing shots. Like, missing open shots that they should be and that they have been hitting before. So I don't think we can bank on that again for the playoffs because that was just an off night. But I see where you're coming from.
But what I want to say about that is a long time ago, Spurs used this, Orlando used this to get to the finals against LeBron, right? In the conference finals. They let LeBron get his. This guy averaged almost a 40-point triple-double, and they shut down all the role players. Sometimes you just got to live with the one person getting his if you shut down everyone else, because at the end of the day, it's a team game.
That's true.
And that's what we did to the Rockets. They only took 9 3-pointers.
And
Like,
and
that's absurd for a team like them.
the
volume-wise.
Cavaliers have a team that can be pretty easily shut down.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
They have a lot of players that can shoot the 3, but they're not those snipers that they had like last year. They don't have that crazy ball movement. So
I don't know. I can't wait for these playoffs. I think they're going to be so good, so much more competitive than what we have seen in the past. I think we're going to see a lot of Game 7s, a lot of Game 6s this year, which I just can't wait to see.
I would love to see the Raptors and Raptors and Rockets in the finals, just because it's so different from what we expected at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Everyone's constantly like, oh, Cleveland and Golden State,
Boston, yeah, Cleveland.
right? Like it's gonna be third year in a row or something, whatever, fourth year in a row. It's like,
you know what?
whatever.
I can
Let's
see it now.
surprise 'em.
Raptors, Rockets. Once the Raptors bounce the Cleveland Cavaliers in the playoffs,
I can't lie.
LeBron goes up to DeMar DeRozan, takes his beard off, gives it to DeRozan, puts it on him.
Takes
said,
his
"Hey,
beard off.
now you have a beard to go against the beard."
Oh my
Stupid.
god.
They
Where-
hug.
How does your mind go into these things? I thought you were going to say the headband and put the headband on, which is a
So-
little bit more believable.
So before we move on to the next topic, I like that you kind of bring that up. Recently, in the Toronto subway, there's been advertisements going around that are trying to, same as what you see in LA and Philadelphia, of just the city trying to recruit LeBron James to Toronto. And it pretty much, I think it was like 23 to the 6. That's what it said, right? If you're a Toronto Raptors fan, would you want to see LeBron James join this team?
If you don't
that
mind
is
me
doing well.
answering this question first, I would say with a hell no. Like, yes, if LeBron comes to the Raptors, yes, we're going to be a great team because like it's unbelievable. But the way our team is set up, we are exactly that. We are a team. No matter where LeBron goes, you're not really a team. You are LeBron and company. Like where we are the Toronto Raptors with our bench being as deep, he wouldn't fit. We would lose too much. We would lose our identity. We would lose our ball movement. We would lose our defensive rotations. I don't think it's gonna be a payoff.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with LeBron's teams is the players forget to do anything except shoot threes.
Yes.
So if you ask another person to take it off the dribble or a person to create,
Doesn't happen.
they don't really do it. Like J.R. Smith, the guy does not do any of that anymore.
No,
Like
yeah,
what
if
he used
you-
to do in New York.
And if you looked at him in New York and in Denver before, he was an overall scorer, not just a shooter. So you change your identity when you get LeBron on your team. Granted, if you asked me this question about 7 years ago when the Raptors were in the midst of their rebuild, I would have killed people to have LeBron James come to the Cavaliers. Like, I would have done murder. It would have been bad. Now that we are actually past the rebuild, we're more or less looking to get that last piece to take us to the promised land. I don't want to start again.
But I feel like if you have a chance at LeBron, you get LeBron. But I feel like Masai's a good enough GM that he
knows.
could make it work. He could actually still implement a
Finesse
system
it?
and have players that could
You can get rid of some big
avoid
contracts.
it.
Norman Powell,
Who are you going to get rid of that to?
Cleveland, if they're gonna need to rebuild.
Brooklyn for a second round pick.
I'm sorry, you're not getting rid of that Powell contract. Like, honestly, he's going to be a Raptor until those 4 years are done. It's sort of like the same situation that Orlando's in with Bismack Biyombo. Like, no one is going to take that contract from Biyombo. He's making like 12 to 14 million a season.
Dumbest
Who's going to pay
contract
that?
ever.
No one. So, like, unfortunately, he is going to be a Magic until that contract's done because every team's looking at you guys going like, you guys are dumb. It's unfortunate, but
What if it's
what happens?
It's a combo deal. It'd be like, yo, take Norman Powell and we'll take Tristan Thompson.
Okay. I don't want that deal. Like, that would be terrible.
We'd have to give it like JV and Serge or something.
JV, DeMar, Kyle Lowry, our first 2 draft pick, Masai Ujiri's firstborn son. Like, it would not happen. Not happen. But going on here, because we have talked pretty well this podcast here today. I know we were trying to keep it a little bit shorter for you guys. The last thing that's not really basketball related, but it has been in the news as of, about 12 months ago here now that we were sort of just catching up because it is
player
just
drama.
Juicy. It is juicy player drama in the league. Funny enough that you talked about Tristan Thompson here. He isn't involved in that. About Tristan Thompson and Blake Griffin leaving their girlfriends
They're
behind
baby mamas.
for I don't want to say the improvement of the Kardashian Jenner clan, but moving
Or
on to
the
Kardashian and Jenner.
The acquisition of the Kardashian curse.
And Jenner curse because you have to group them together now. For all of you guys that might not know, we did have Blake Griffin was married with 2 kids.
He wasn't married, but he had 2 kids.
2 kids, okay.
And there was supposed to be a verbal agreement that he was going to take care of her and her family for the rest of their lives.
Makes sense.
See, what happened was I actually know a little bit about this because I love NBA drama.
Yeah, our resident tea sipper.
So, tea spiller.
So sorry.
Right, spill
You're
it
not gonna
and
sip your tea,
it. What happened was Blake Griffin had this long-term girlfriend who was a fiance, and then after she actually gave up her career for him, right? Because I think she was with the team as like athletic therapist, something like that.
Yeah.
She had a good career, gave it up for him to be essentially support him full time, like emotionally, things like that. She released letters, actually, like love letters from him to her, and he signed it at Love Blakey. Loser. So what happened was then he asked her
Kendall?
all of a sudden
Mhm.
to sign a prenup a week before their wedding or something. Apparently it was very out of left field because, as you said, he basically agreed, I'm going to take care of you and your family because you took care of me like this whole time. Apparently she helped with like Chris Paul, Blake Griffin drama back in the day. Apparently.
I think she helped with a lot of like endorsements and sponsorships as well too.
Yeah, she just helped him a lot. She's that come up girl. She's the good girl. But then after, so he asked her to sign a prenup. Then she was like, "Why am I going to sign a prenup?" Called off the wedding. Seen a week later with Kendall.
Fair. Granted, it was out of left field. I don't really have too much to say about the Blake Griffin whole situation because what they do off the court is not really my business. People have their own situations and whatnot. It was kind of gutty. Like I can't lie, it was kind of gutty. Like you have a ride or die with you coming with the come up with you, and then at the end, it's the Kanye West. It's the Kanye West line. When you make it, you go and get yourself a white check. Like it's unfortunate that he just dropped her for a new girl, but honestly, players, it's not the first time that this has ever happened to an NBA side piece before. Like I guarantee it's not going to be the last. Like. It's unfortunate.
So sometimes you gotta secure the bag. You secured a 5-year, $168 million.
Yeah, and
Now you're about to secure a lifetime,
you don't want
$1 billion contract with a baby.
Hey,
I ain't pulling out.
but I know Blake Griffin is a little bit disappointed about the whole situation. But I know he rebounded real quick with Kendall Jenner. But moving over to one of her sisters with Khloe Kardashian and Tristan Thompson, something of the same situation was going on. I know, Dan, you have a little bit more information on this baby mama drama.
Man, ever since there was even rumors that they were seeing each other, I was like, this is the worst possible thing for Cleveland. This is probably why Cleveland is doing so bad to begin with. The Kardashian curse, man, that shit is real. I know that we had one point where James Harden was kind of dealing with a Jenner as well too.
No, it was Khloe.
Was it Khloe
Yeah,
as
It was
well?
Khloe as well.
But he
Oh,
got out
man.
of it. He got out of it because he's like,
Tristan
yo,
saved his life.
I'm trying to go to the strip club. I'm trying to go to Houston. You know they got his jersey retired at the strip club.
Yeah,
Yeah, he does at the Houston strip club. They got his jersey retired up there.
but it's yes, it's a Kardashian curse, but really, it's the aftermath of it all. Like Kardashians as a whole have been in the sports world a lot, dating a lot of people. It all famously started with Kim Kardashian and Reggie Bush. A year after they broke up, Reggie won a Super Bowl. Okay, coincidence, whatever. So then Kim goes and moves on to Chris Humphries. Absolute garbage player at the time. Absolute garbage. After he broke up with Kim, he got a new fat contract with New Jersey, coming off of the Raptors when he was, I don't want to say decent.
He was actually playing really good while he was with
That's
Kim.
what I was
though.
gonna say. That's what I was gonna say. He wasn't decent. He got a nice contract with her because he
was-
was playing good.
Yeah, it was
At the
after
time.
they broke up.
That he went downhill. But like with the Kardashians, he got paid when he was with her. So that's another bonus. Khloe was dating with James Harden. Really, this was about a year ago. Really before James Harden turned it on to what he has been in the last 2 years, where he's
Right.
been MVP candidate. So when you get a Kardashian or a Jenner and then you drop them, you usually do big things after. Is that what Tristan's thinking about? Because that would be nice, but
I don't think so, man.
I don't know.
I'm gonna say something that may be a little bit inappropriate for
Okay,
the podcast.
don't forget we are still PG here. Well, I guess we're PG-13 today, but
I guess you know Mike's secret stuff in Space Jam. I think the Kardashians and Jenners got that. They got Mike's secret stuff.
Dude.
But
and can you blame them? Because what do they do other than the Jenners recently? What do they do to make their money? They have some sort of secret stuff to be where they are. I don't know. Like they don't have too much talent. Like
It's just the reality TV shows. The
Yes.
family's been in the business for forever.
But I think it's something that's been around a long time. Just back in the day, you used to call them socialites. They're not actually talented. They don't actually do anything, but they're just people who go
Popular.
to events who are popular because of their looks and they're elegant. And they just were able to spin that and
People
make
like
a fortune off of it.
good for them.
Yeah, right?
Hey, if I could do it, I would be doing it. So, we guys stay our hustle on here in the Raptors den, trying to make that subscription life, But overall, yes, it was gutty. Tristan Thompson left his pregnant wife at the time for his new boo, Khloe, that they met at a wedding that he went to with his old girlfriend at the time. Met Khloe at the wedding. A couple months later, Bob's your uncle, and now he's with Khloe Kardashian, expecting another baby. So this guy has two babies, two baby mamas, when he's coming out of the streets of Brampton with probably nothing on his record. And knowing that, he probably has a Brampton kid running around somewhere too.
Oh
So
my god.
I don't know. Tristan Thompson, keep doing it up, bro. Like, you got the money to support them all. Why not?
Hey, secure the bag.
Yeah, so you can do. Other than that, they're MVPs. I think we hit all of our topics that we were looking at this week. I know we were bringing it to you in a shortened week here for you. But as you guys know, thank you guys for sitting here watching the whole show. If you made it through the whole thing, you the real MVPs.
You the real MVP.
So I know one more thing.
Wait, I feel like what I've just brought to this podcast were hot takes. So I think all of us need to have one last hot take before we end the podcast. I'll go first. Lonzo Ball and Isaiah Thomas, they're going to get in a fight before the season ends. There's going to be some drama. What's going to happen? Hear me out. LeVar's going to come in.
From Lithuania.
He somehow got past security, got into a Lakers practice. And he's going to look at IT because he just shot 2 for 14 the night before. Alonzo only got 5 shots. He's going to go to Isaiah. You ain't a big baller.
You're a little man.
You a little baller. Itty bitty baller. Looking like one of Jonas Valanciunas' mother.
Coming from Lithuania, you probably see those big baller, the itty bitty ballers everywhere.
Exactly. Then, little man syndrome. He's going to get in a fight with Lonzo. Stop giving him shots. They're going to get into it. Eventually at practice.
Hey, that's a pretty decent hot take. I don't mind it.
You can see that happening, huh?
I do.
The way he connected the dots there. And I made it Raptor related.
If you want my one hot take, you guys can hear it first. Cavaliers are not making it out of the second round of these playoffs. I am a LeBron James believer. I think he is going to do big things, but I just don't see the Cavaliers coming out of the second round. They're going to get bounced. I don't know by who. Potentially, it looks like they're going to run into the Celtics second round. I don't know. I think they might get bounced.
That's a hot take. Dan?
Mic drop.
Man, my hot take is going to be far in the future. In 5 years, when LeBron James is pretty much at the end of his career and he's retired.
If he's at his end of his career in 5 years, he has no signs of slowing down, though.
My new favorite player at that time is going to be LeBron James. Junior.
I was about to say, is LeBron about to hit his 4th prime?
I'm sorry. I know we were trying to wrap it up here, guys, but speaking about that, LeBron James has come out and said that he wants to play on the same team as LBJJ, LeBron James Jr. Is it possible?
I think it's possible.
LeBron James is what, 33 right now?
Yeah.
32? And then his son is 14. 13. Yeah, possible. LeBron James has no sign of slowing down.
And I think at that age, you're not going to, you might not even care about championship anymore.
No, he shouldn't.
He's just going to play on the same team just for the shits and giggles.
Dude, the Ken Griffey Jr. played on the same team as his father in baseball. Baseball's a little bit different life expectancy, but I think that would be super cool to see.
It would be. It would be the first ever.
For NBA.
Yeah.
That's true. But anyways, guys, we're going to wrap it up. We already said our sign-off once, but you guys know it yet again. If you made it through, you're the real MVP.
MVP.
All right, guys, have a good one.
Peace.
Out.